grinder's out of commission. It's the second time it's happened. This bridge rectifier gets really hot and then it shorts out your controller. I need to get a better one of these. Something that displaces the heat a little bit more. Can't complain too much because these parts were like 15 bucks. Treadmill motor was free out of a dumpster. And it works really well. You just kind of take it a little bit easy. Anyways, no knife making for me today. But that allows me to work on some other projects. And other projects are in no short supply out here. I found these awesome old lanterns, and it gave me this really cool idea to make a new dining table fixture. Now, this is my current one. Came with the house. It's not really my style. I don't really like it. It's been kind of in the back of my mind. Get rid of it, buy a new one. But I don't really like to buy stuff. So, I'm going to make these lit up, and it's going to be pretty cool. I've got this dual bulb setup that I'm going to attempt to do. But I'm not there yet. First thing I want to do is find the way to hang these guys. Now, one of the reasons why we call this place the Iron Ridge is one, we are surrounded by this awesome ridge right here. And two, the previous owner left a bunch of old iron. And check out this old yoke. You can tell it's all hand forged. It's really old. It would be perfect. However, it's just too big and too heavy. I'm going to be using the same mount that's on my light fixture at the moment, and this is just, it's too big, too much weight. I don't want this thing, coming out of the wall. So I figured I'd make my own. I'll forge all the fittings out, go find a cool piece of wood, and it will be perfect. Probably about 2/3 this size, a little over half, and that will be perfect. So that's step one. However, one other project I've been meaning to take care of is fixing up this old anvil stand. I don't like it. Energy is lost every single time I hit it. It wobbles around, so I'm going to go make a new one. So I got my new anvil stand all made up. It's just scrap wood stuck together on the vertical, and that way it's super strong. The amount of pressure that this can handle is going to be more than anything I'm going to throw at it while I'm banging around on some steel. While I was working on this, I got some other parts. Let's see. So these are the guts of the lamp, and I'm going to have to figure out, this will be the hardest part of the whole build, is figuring out how to get this inside of the lantern. Of course, these brackets are going to come off. I'm just going to need this tube, wire it all up. We got 2 of those. And then I got these LED flame bulbs, and I have no idea what these are going to look like. Hopefully they're cool. If not, I'll just go to the standard bulbs. No big deal. We'll see. Easily change the mode by pressing the switch. Hopefully there's a switch on the actual bulb itself. I don't know. We'll find out. Let's play around with it. So for today's agenda, I'm going to hopefully forge out this yoke. Now I've got some square stock here. I'm going to twist this. And I think that will give it a really cool pattern. It'll stay light, not too heavy. It's pretty thin material. One, it'll be easy to forge. 2, it won't weigh down the fixture as much. And then I have here an old walking stick that I really don't like. It's made from local juniper. It's all seasoned, so it won't crack on me at all. It's just a little more phallic than what I really want in a walking stick. So I'm going to actually use this bottom section here. It's already all milled to shape, essentially. I'll cut it right here at the length. I'm going to forge out my 2 ends. And then for the middle, the original yoke, where are you? Just has 1 point of contact. And what that will do is it'll really make it wobbly. I don't want it to be that wobbly. So I'm actually thinking about making 2 points of contact in the middle. That should stabilize the fixture a good amount. I'm kind of not sure exactly what I'm going to forge, how I want them to look. Just 2 separate pieces. 1 piece with 2 hooks on it. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. I might just start hammering steel and see what comes out of it. For right now, the ends are what I'm going to make with this square stock. So while the forge is heating up, let me walk you through my plans here. I'm actually going to take this, I'm going to flatten out about a 2-inch section. I'm going to twist about a 4-inch section and then flatten out another 2-inch section. I'll cut that off. I'm going to actually drill 2 holes, one on either end of the flat. And I wish I had a hardy hole here so I could forge out the hole, but I don't, so I'm just going to go to the drill press. Drill in the hole, and then I'll cut it off. And then I will come back in, twist it, and then bend it to shape so it creates a loop around this log. That's the plan. We'll see how it goes. Gorgeous. Alright, it's getting too long to fit into my forge, so I'm actually going to come in and angle grind this section off right here, and then I can flip it over, flatten out this section, drill some holes, and I'm almost there. For some decorative touches, I'm going to come in with the ball peen. Just give those nice hammer marks. Get the other side now. So here we have the 2 ends of the yoke, and while these are cooling off before I drill 2 holes in them, I'm going to cut this to length. I've got this section of wood chucked up in the lathe. I'm actually going to try and reduce the diameter all. I just want to sand it off. You could do this by hand, but it's going to go a whole lot faster on this. Oh, crap. Oh, Harbor Freight drill bits. No bueno. It is way too cold in the shop this morning to set the forge. It's well below freezing in here. So I know that the propane would not work. So I figured I would try and tackle taking this apart as much as I can. Now I haven't looked at any YouTube videos on how to do this. I might have to go and do a little bit of research on to see how exactly to take this down. But I'm going to see what I can do by just tearing down bolts. So just looking at this, I'm going to have to figure out how to essentially get this all reattached, because I'm going to cut a big hole right in the center of this. I'm going to cut out the bottom so I can get a bulb in here and get some light shining through. And then there'll be a bulb sticking up this way, which means I'm going to have to cut a circle out of here and find a way to reattach the top, because this whole piping, middle pipe section that holds on the top of the lantern will all be loose. So for right now, I'm going to see if I can get this off. I've got a really good idea of how I'm going to connect all this. So I'm going to cut a hole in this section for this double bulb socket to fit in it. You can see that the socket is much smaller than what that original part will cover. So I'll get that hole drilled, and then I'm actually going to come in and use the C channel, and I'll cut this in thin strips, drill and tap a hole on the flats, and these will sit at four corners, giving kind of struts to connect this portion, which I'll drill into the top of those four C channels. And this will be hiding all of it, and you will never know that inside will be this light fixture. I think that will work perfectly. It should be nice and strong. It'll be connected by metal. This cheap, flimsy plastic piece I did not want to be a structural component of the lamp. The big thing is, how am I going to hide the wires? I really don't want the wires coming out of here, because they need to run to the top of this somehow. And I have this hollow tube, and I think I'm going to try and relocate this hollow tube more. I don't know, it's going to be tight. I might actually use a different tube. This tube's kind of thick and it's taking up a lot of real estate. And it's I know it's going to get in the way of a bulb as it sits. So I think I'm going to try and find either a smaller tube, which I think I got. So the tube will run from here to the top. And that will be, and I might even just run 4 tubes, connect it to this top section. I don't know, we'll see. I haven't gotten there yet, but I do know how to get this part connected to this. Right now, this, I can smell it. It smells like old gas, so you'd be an absolute fool to try and start getting sparks anywhere close to this. I'm going to go dunk this in water and let it dry out, and then I'll come in and cut. And that way I know that there'll be absolutely no gas fumes in this. So I've completely filled this with water, drained it twice, but I'm not gonna lie, I'm still really scared to start grinding on it. I know I shouldn't be, but I still am. So, the test. Okay, I think we're fine. Let's start grinding. Let's see if this works here. Oh, it's an awful noise. Got the hole cut in my base. It's gonna be perfect. Now I need to remove this gas tube from the globe fixture, and it looks like it's just, if you can see, kind of pinned on there. So hopefully this isn't too strong and I can just bend it in. Oh wow, it's still in there. Let's see if I can't punch it out. Here we have the substructure completed. The barrel is connected to one of these legs, and not the most elegant solution with these aluminum chunks stuck in there as wedges. However, there's a little bit of slop, and that just took it right out. So this is just ready to keep going on. Now this is the barrel that goes around this section, and I had to drill out the rivets. Unfortunately, I couldn't have this on while attaching these tiny little bolts. I just need access, so I'm gonna have to come back in and use some metal screws, but it'll still look real nice. This just comes around like this. That'll be screwed back on. You can see how cool that is. For the wires on the inside, I'm going to play with this aluminum tubing and see if I can just have a single piece of aluminum tube running in here concealing the wires, and then it will stop, and I'm just going to have the wires coming out of the top of this, or potentially I could have them coming out here. I'll see what looks nice, but this tube will conceal the wires very nice on the inside of this. It's coming along. This took way longer than I was expecting, trying to figure out how all this went together, how to get the barrel attached, but we are making progress. I'm about ready to set this one aside because this one pretty much just needs to be wired, and then work on the other one. Alright, that wire, let's see where I took those two wires, put them in this aluminum tube, and we'll hide those very nicely. And let's see if this will fit in. Oh yeah, look at that. Perfect. This one's essentially done. All I need to do is finish up wiring it from the top, and then I haven't attached this just in case I need to touch up anything in there. And then all I'll do is put a nice light socket on the bottom here. That one looks great. Perfect. I really hope this bulb looks cool. And then this top, I'm not even going to worry about screwing it on. It just sits on here. It doesn't fall off at all. If I ever need to change the bulb, nice and easy. Perfect. This is so cool. I'm excited. Here's the second lantern finished. You can see my aluminum tubing is going to look perfect. High hopes for this. However, its opacity is kind of making me second guess what this is actually going to do. You know, do you see fire? Flames? I can't really see that. Better. Is it going to look like that? I don't know. I'm skeptical of this fear that it's just going to blink orange. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, it's in there. My second lantern. Definitely a good bit more elegant than my first job. Instead of trying to make these L brackets go underneath, they just sit on top. Way easier to accomplish. A lot cleaner look. You have to do a smaller diameter cutout. Definitely going to look nice. This was welded, so I had to take a Dremel and cut that, but we'll just set this right like that. And ta-da. Looking good. Alright, another day in the forge. You kind of see I've got this mandrel contraption. It's a huge pipe. I didn't want to cut it. The diameter is the same diameter, roughly, same diameter of the wood that I'm using to make my yoke. Today, I'm going to take these straight pieces and I'm going to hope to recreate somewhat of this shape using the mandrel. So I'm going to do a 90, come down, create a loop, and another 90. We'll see how that goes. I got the forge warming up. First 90. somewhere. Thanks. Got that one finished. Gonna make one more. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this flat bar stock, and for the center of the yoke, what the chains will actually attach to, I'm just gonna take this and wrap it around this mandrel. I was thinking of something more ornate, but I'm worried about weight, so I know this is gonna be nice and lightweight. It'll still look really cool, utilitarian. I'll make 2 of them, and then the 2 chains will attach about 4 inches apart. So let's take this small section, wrap it around, and have it tie at the top. Real simple and easy. This is the yoke, the piece of wood that I'm going to use for the yoke. I've got my fittings all forged out. It's got a nice tight fitting on there. Nice tight fit. Anyways, it goes on there, and I'll screw those in. What I do not want to see is 2 wires running the length of this. So my plan is to actually cut in a line that the wires can sit flush into. That way when this is hanging up on the ceiling, you won't see those wires. Hopefully I don't bugger this up. Nothing on this is actually straight, so I can't just put this into, a saw. I thought it was maybe running along the table saw with a fence, but there's no way you get a nice straight line or what I'm after. So I'm gonna have to come in and do this with the Dremel. That should really help to hide the wires coming in. This thing's looking nice. It's time to wire up these lanterns, and it couldn't be simpler. I have here the mount from my existing light fixture. This plugs into the junction box, and then you've got your cord, and I'm going to actually solder in connections going to both of these lanterns. Originally on the light fixture, you can see they use these crimps. They're just bulky, and I don't really have a place to hide these. These were hidden in the bottom of the fixture, but I don't really have a place to hide these because the junction is going to happen at the yoke. So what I'm going to do is solder all my connections. So I've got my soldering iron, some solder, And this isn't long enough. I don't have enough material to span the width of the yoke, so I went and I bought just this cheap extension cord that I'm going to cut, and I'll solder to the light fixture on here. And this will be what's running on top of the yoke. And then I'll cut another one, and we'll splice all of the connectors right here. And hopefully it'll be nice and clean. Not too bad. I'm probably going to come back in with a black or brown Sharpie and draw on these and color them. I was going to paint them, but unfortunately it's just too cold to paint at the moment, and also paint will not flex like a permanent marker will. So I think permanent marker will be the best route. So right now I'm going to cut this off. I'll splice, measure how much I'll need, cut off, make sure to keep all my negatives and positives go in the right direction. And then this is grounded. This is my ground wire, and I'll just run, I've got some other wire over here. I'll run that to either lamp, make sure they're all grounded, and I'll actually put this onto one of these screws here so it's a nice permanent strong connection with that ground. I want these to be safe. I don't want any possibility of electrocution. So let's get going. I'm going to cut these up. I finished wiring up the lanterns. Haven't connected lanterns to the harness yet, but it is time to assemble all of that before I do the final wiring. So I'm going to assemble for the first time our forged yoke. I put a light coat of oil, pre-drilled here. That's nice right there. You can see what I've done is put a chain link on here, and 2 chains coming off of that main harness will connect to these. I think it'll give it a nice look. Should give it a little bit of increased stability. Ruh-roh, did not have that tight enough in the vise. Perfect. Those don't need to be too tight because they're not doing anything other than just holding those in place. Yeah, that looks cool. This is one of those instances where I really needed a third and maybe fourth hand. But look at that. It's not too heavy. It balances perfectly. I think this is going to be a really, really sweet fixture. Look at that. Now, all I really need to do is take this wire and this wire, connect it to these 2 wires, plug it back in, and fingers crossed, should all be golden. Really excited to do some final wiring, bring these up. I'll probably go grab a marker, paint them so they don't look so white, and solder them. You'll see the solder connection right here. I was trying to think of a way of hiding these, but these wires and these 2 wires are going to come in. They'll meet right here. I'll solder them, and it'll just kind of be, I don't know. I'm thinking away, how can I hide these? There's not really a great way to do it that I can think of. If you got any ideas, I'd love to hear them. But at the moment, I'm drawing a blank. But overall, the overall aesthetic, it's exactly what I was going for. This is going to be really awesome. So set this down here carefully. Well, they could be worse, but those are definitely not the flame that was advertised. However, man, do I love it. It turned out great. I wish the wires were a little bit less noticeable, but it looks amazing up here. Got the hand forged fittings. They sit perfectly even. Missing is dead straight. Looks very nice. Very nice. Really happy with how that turned out. The bombs put out too much light, honestly. They're too bright. The bulbs that were in this, I just used the same ones that were in the previous light fixture, and they're a little bit too bright. You look up and you're definitely blinded. But overall, I'm really happy with how that turned out. Hope you guys like it too. Thanks for watching.